The countdown hit 0, the teasers dropped, the fandom went silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down. BTS didn't just make a comeback after 4 years, they did the unthinkable. And the Western music industry. Billboard. They're terrified. Welcome to Starscoop K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
It seriously feels like the entire cultural gravity of the planet just shifted.
Oh, completely.
And sitting down with you to just like pull apart the mechanics of how this happened. Honestly, it's the only way I can even process it right now.
Yeah, we have a massive stack of sources in front of us for this deep dive. I'm talking critical reviews, official agency statements, global chart data, cultural reports, everything.
We've got all the receipts.
Right. And our mission today is to analyze the exact anatomy of BTS's highly anticipated post-military hiatus comeback. Specifically, their 5th full-length studio album, Arirang, which dropped on March 20, 2026.
It's so much more than an album drop, though.
Definitely. It's a calculated, precision-engineered shockwave.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you have to view this through the lens of that 4-year military hiatus.
4 long years.
Yeah. 4 years where literally the biggest pop group on the planet just vanished from the active timeline.
And the industry assumption, like what everyone thought, was that they would return with this incredibly safe, highly westernized English track.
Oh, 100%. People were expecting, a spiritual successor to Dynamite or Butter.
Right, something designed to just instantly placate U.S. radio programmers.
But they completely defied that playbook, like threw it out the window.
They really did. They didn't return with a cookie-cutter pop grab. They dropped Arirang.
Arirang. Just saying the title gives me chills.
It's a deeply, unapologetically Korean identity piece.
Mm-hmm.
But, and here's the wild part, if you look at the liner notes for the album, you'll see it was recorded in Los Angeles during the summer of 2025.
Right, and they pulled in some massive heavy hitters from the Western production world.
We're talking Kevin Parker of Tame Impala, Diplo, Mike Will Made It, Artemis, and JPEG Mafia.
Which is just that production roster layered over the title. Arirang is literally what caused the timeline to freeze.
Yeah, explain that for people who might not know. What is Arirang?
So Arirang isn't just a song. It's basically the unofficial national anthem of Korea.
Right.
It's a 600-year-old folk song. It's historically about crossing a mountain pass. And etymologically, Ari translates roughly to beautiful or aching, and Rang means beloved.
Beautiful beloved.
Yeah, so it's this literal metaphor for enduring the pain of separation, pushing through despair, and eventually finding that return and reunion.
Which perfectly mirrors the military hiatus.
Exactly.
I look at that producer list, though, and I see a massive contradiction.
Okay, how so?
Well, if this is a defiant reclamation of pure Korean identity, why did they outsource the sonic architecture to guys from LA who make indie rock, trap, and EDM?
Right.
Doesn't bringing in, like, Diplo and Kevin Parker dilute the very cultural heritage they're trying to claim?
See, I'd argue no. Not if you look at how those producers were actually utilized.
Okay, what do you mean?
It wasn't assimilation. It was like an algorithmic hijacking.
Oh, I like that term.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they essentially reverse engineered the Western pop machine. They bought the Ferrari by hiring these massive producers, but then they completely gutted the engine.
Right, and replaced it with what?
A traditional Korean heartbeat. You have traditional Korean instrumentation woven directly into heavy 808s and synths.
So Western radio thought they were getting this standard, digestible pop vehicle.
Yep, and instead they got hijacked by an uncompromising Korean narrative.
That makes the fandom's visceral reaction make total sense.
Well, the timeline was in absolute tears. Netizens, international fans, everyone. Because it's a direct response to the xenophobia they faced pre-hiatus.
Because critics spent years trying to put BTS in a box.
Exactly. Calling their English releases too generic or, claiming they were desperately chasing Western validation.
Which they weren't.
Right. So this album weaponizes that criticism. By sitting at the absolute pinnacle of global pop and releasing an album called Arirang, they are forcing the West to consume K-culture on K-pop's terms.
It's the ultimate flex.
It is. They are telling the industry, hey, we don't need to dilute our visuals or our lyrics to maintain an all-kill status globally.
And the music is just the beginning. Wait until you hear the mind-blowing Easter eggs big hit across the globe, and the wild theory netizens uncovered about the 360-degree tour stage.
If you love staying updated on your favorites, make sure you're subscribed to Starscope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
So you'd think an album leaning so heavily into traditional Korean folk would, I don't know, alienate the casual Western streamer.
You'd think so, yeah.
But the data does the exact opposite. To understand why Billboard is so terrified, you have to look at the mechanics of this rollout.
The organic fan engagement was it completely shattered traditional industry metrics.
Yeah. I mean, the guerrilla marketing campaign leading up to March 20th was a masterclass in decentralized fandom mobilization.
It was brilliant. It started on Valentine's Day, right?
Yep, Valentine's Day. Big Hit quietly distributed thousands of QR-coded roses in very specific physical locations across Seoul, London, and Los Angeles.
With zero announcements.
None. Just physical roses with a tag asking, "What is your love song?"
And scanning the code didn't lead to a normal pre-save link.
Nope. It led to an encrypted audio file of traditional Korean string instruments.
So cool.
Then came the Google partnership. If you searched BTS, it brought up a blue ship in a bottle.
I remember that.
Clicking, it launched this wild trivia quest. Fans had to work together across time zones just to unlock handwritten song titles.
And then the Spotify swim-side pop-ups appeared globally.
Exactly.
What Big Hit did there was reignite the muscle memory of the fandom.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
They turned passive consumers back into active participants. And, when you reward a fandom with that level of interactive, intricate lore,
yeah,
the financial and streaming mobilization that follows is just catastrophic to anyone else trying to chart.
Catastrophic is definitely the right word. Listen to these stats.
Lay them on me.
110 million first-day Spotify streams.
It's insane.
They monopolized the top 14 spots globally on Spotify. In South Korea, the Circle chart logged 4.2 million copies sold in the first week alone.
Just unbelievable numbers.
But the metric that genuinely broke the algorithm was the physical sales in the U.S. 810,000 physical copies sold.
Wow.
In 2026, with no ticket bundles, no merch gimmicks.
See, people outside the Hallyu wave always fundamentally misunderstand K-pop's physical sales.
Yeah, so?
They assume it's just like people buying plastic CDs they will never play.
Right.
But a K-pop physical album is a full-on multimedia art piece. It's a luxury collectible. You are buying a 100-page, high-concept photo book, randomized photographs.
Sure to get your bias.
Exactly. You're getting lyric posters and structural packaging that looks like a high-end coffee table book.
And moving 810,000 units without standard Western playlisting support just means the fandom is acting as its own decentralized distribution network.
They don't need the radio.
They really don't. But an explosive debut isn't entirely shocking for them.
True. They always debut big.
The true anomaly here is the Billboard roller coaster that happened months later.
Oh, this is crazy.
So Arirang debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, their 7th U.S. #1.
Yep.
Normally, even massive streaming albums algorithmically evaporate after week 3. They just slide down the chart.
Yeah.
But Arirang surged back into the top 10, landing at #9 after 13 weeks.
That kind of charting necromancy requires a massive catalyst.
And that catalyst was a multi-tiered strike. First, Big Hit released a deluxe vinyl edition.
The packaging on that was gorgeous, by the way.
Incredible visuals, and it featured an exclusive produced track from Suga called Come Over.
Such a good track.
Plus bonus tracks like Voice Message, Love Song, and a Korean version of the track Normal.
But they paired that vinyl shipment with a truly surreal live event.
Yes. The co-headlining halftime show at the 2026 FIFA World Cup final.
Oh my God.
They performed Dynamite to a global audience of billions and then seamlessly transitioned into the heavy trap beats of the new album.
Watching them take a global sports stage like the World Cup was just visually stunning. But honestly, for the fandom, the true emotional epicenter of this comeback was the Gwangwon Square concert.
Let's talk about the logistical insanity of that event for a second.
Please do.
Because you don't just book Gyeonggi Square.
No, you really go.
It is the historical and political heart of Seoul. It's the site of royal palaces, massive national protests, cultural celebrations.
Yeah, to build a stage there is the equivalent of like throwing a concert on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., but with 6 centuries of dynastic history looking down on you.
It required unprecedented government cooperation. Culture Minister Chase Wai-young publicly championed the event.
Which is huge.
He mobilized maximum government support, including a frankly draconian crackdown on ticket scalping.
Good.
Seriously. But the government recognized that this wasn't just a pop concert. It was a global broadcast of Korean soft power.
And the broadcast numbers totally reflect that.
Yeah, it was streamed live on Netflix, pulling in 18.4 million viewers in real time.
Hitting #1 in 24 different countries.
And that was just the launch pad for the Arirang World Tour, an 85-date, 34-city logistical leviathan.
And this is where the visual storytelling perfectly merges with the music.
Right.
So the tour features this massive 360-degree stage. And netizens quickly deduced that the stage design is a literal representation of the taeguk.
The tiger, that's the symbol on the flag, right?
Yeah, the symbol of ultimate balance, that red and blue circle at the center of the South Korean flag.
But how does a circular stage design actually elevate the performance? I mean, isn't it just an aesthetic choice?
No, it's a functional metaphor.
Okay.
The taeguk represents the continuous cycle of opposing forces, right?
Right.
Light and dark, separation and reunion.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. During the concert, the choreography physically forces the members to start on opposing sides of the stage, separated by the curvature of the design.
Wow.
Over the course of the set list, they have to traverse this massive, undulating stage to finally converge in the center. They are literally acting out the mountain pass of the Arirang folk song.
But that's not even the wildest part of this comeback. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the secret Apple Music track that had the entire fandom in tears.
Whenever you construct an album this dense with cultural weight, and you pipe it through the mechanics of Western pop distribution, the friction is going to be intense.
No, absolutely. And that friction is incredibly obvious when you look at the critical divide.
Very polarized.
Completely. The reviews are highly polarized, and it depends entirely on which cultural lens the reviewer is wearing.
Right. Like the British press embraced the sheer maximalism of it.
Yeah. The Guardian awarded it 4 stars, calling it a return filled with dumb fun and downright weirdness.
And the Telegraph celebrated the monster truck grooves.
Right. They evaluated it purely as a stadium-shaking pop spectacle.
Contrast that with the American indie music sphere, which was far more cynical.
Yeah, Pitchfork handed it a 5.3 out of 10.
Ugh.
They argued the album rang hollow, labeling the tracks generic.
Which is just lazy.
But the most fascinating critique actually came from within Korea itself.
This one was interesting.
Right. The domestic music outlet IZM published a scathing review regarding the album's authenticity.
Yeah, so they argued that because the track list relied heavily on those Western producers we mentioned earlier,
Right.
and featured significantly more English phrasing than expected, the deeply cultural title, Arirang, was just a MacGuffin.
A MacGuffin.
Yeah, basically a shiny, patriotic plot device meant to distract from what they called a fundamentally westernized sonic product.
Wow. That IZM critique really gets to the very core of the modern K-pop identity crisis. Like, how do you honor your domestic roots when your audience spans 200 countries?
It's tough. But I argue that both IZM and Pitchfork are fundamentally misreading the album's architecture.
All right, make that case. How does the structure of the album disprove the MacGuffin critique?
You have to look at the track list sequentially.
Okay.
The 14 tracks are fractured perfectly down the middle, bridged by an interlude called No 29.
Right, track 8.
Yes. So tracks 1 through 7 lean heavily into aggressive, bass-heavy trap and hip-hop. It is a sonic throwback to their gritty 2014 Dark and Wild era.
Oh, I loved that era.
Me too. And the rap line absolutely suffocates the production with intricate, aggressive Korean wordplay.
So it's not generic at all.
Not at all. It represents the grueling uphill climb of the mountain pass.
Oh, I get it. So the trap beats aren't a capitulation to Western trends. They're the sonic representation of struggle.
Precisely. And then you hit No 29, which is the crest of the mountain.
Okay.
After that, tracks 8 through 14 descend into this lush, emotional synth pop and alternative R&B space.
The vibe totally shifts.
The vocal line takes over, the tension releases. The album itself is a mechanical recreation of the Arirang journey.
That is brilliant. And the analytics completely validate that artistic choice, too.
The data speaks for itself.
Exactly. Illuminate, the firm that tracks global music consumption, they reported something staggering.
What was it?
Currently, 9% of all listeners engaging with BTS are classified as superfans, which is a record high across the entire music industry.
That's huge.
But the real victory over the critics is hidden in the genre crossover data.
Because that trap-heavy first half of the album is doing heavy lifting.
Massive lifting. Listen to this. 7% of the listeners streaming Arirang right now are categorized strictly as hip-hop fans who have zero prior history of consuming K-pop.
Wow.
Right. They aren't just retaining their loyal base. The intense production from guys like JPEG Mafia and Michael Made, it is actively tearing down genre borders and pulling in a totally new demographic.
It just proves that you don't have to dilute your cultural specificity to expand your footprint. The music is translating itself.
Beautifully said.
And the group actually rewarded the core fandom for taking that journey with them through a brilliant digital Easter egg.
Yes. All these chart numbers are impressive, but they entirely miss the emotional core of this release.
They really do.
The real story is hiding at the very end of the Apple Music track list. Track 16.
Yeah, so if you navigated to the very bottom of the album on Apple Music, past the listed 14 tracks, there was a hidden audio file simply titled Army Rang.
And the wordplay there is so deliberate.
It's a linguistic masterstroke, honestly, because in Korean, the suffix rang means together with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
By altering the ancient title Arang to Army Rang, they physically fused the name of their fandom, Army, with the concept of unity.
That is wow.
They took a 600-year-old folk song about the agony of separation and weaponized the grammar to turn it into a modern promise of reunion, together with Army.
Oh, I have goosebumps. And the audio file itself wasn't even a song, right?
No, it was a spoken message from the maknae and the rest of the members.
And the line that caused the timeline to completely melt down was this, quote, "This album represents the culmination of our journey to date as BTS, and it also finds us returning to where we started."
I mean, that single sentence recontextualizes the entire 4-year hiatus.
Completely.
The military service, the solo projects, the separation, it was all just a mountain pass. Track 16 is the arrival on the other side.
It grounds a massive corporate billion-dollar rollout back into an intimate conversation between 7 artists and their listeners.
It really does.
Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update as this historic tour continues to unfold.
Because watching how the rest of the industry tries to replicate this over the next year is going to be fascinating.
Good luck to them, because you can't easily replicate centuries of cultural weight.
You really can't.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We've dissected the streaming algorithms, the 360-degree Taejuk stages, and the fierce debates over authenticity. But look at the broader implications here. If BTS can shatter global records using an ancient Korean folk motif, uncompromising domestic staging, and a message aimed squarely at their own roots, what happens to the blueprint of global pop?
That's the real question.
Are we finally entering an era where international artists no longer have to frantically translate their culture to conquer the Western market, but instead the West must finally learn to translate them?
You've been listening to Starscope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.